Welcome to another episode of the Mathis Verdict with Judge Mathis and Amir Mathis. Right now, we have a special guest with us, Miss Linda Mathis.
I'm here.
How are you doing today?
I'm good.
Yeah, excited to have you here.
I'm excited to be here.
We had to get our ratings up, so we figured we'd bring you on. You a ratings boost.
Hi.
Exactly. Yeah, and so glad to have you.
Glad to be here.
And so today, we're going to be talking about the vaccine crisis that's been kind of going on in our country. And, can you give some, we wanted to bring you on here because you have some experience working with children, and that's like one of the major things that is going on. Or do you want to explain what's been going on, and then she can give some?
Sure. The reason she's on here is because she's pretty, and that's what gets ratings.
Exactly.
So that's why we have her on.
Well, let me just smile. I don't need to do a smile for this one.
No, as everyone knows, the current White House administration is listening to a nut. Let's just make it clear. If his own family call him a nut, he's a nut. That being the head of Health and Human Services, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. And he has always attacked vaccines after coming off crack, heroin, or whatever he was on. He became an attorney for an anti-vaccine organization. Now he's recommending that children don't have to get vaccines, which the result is going to be more childhood diseases spreading in classrooms and playgrounds and everywhere else. And so we thought it would be wise to have Linda Mathis on, who has supervised over thousands of children during your 15-year course of preschools that you built and operated.
Right, yes, my experience comes in, I am an educator by profession. I worked in Detroit Public Schools, and I also opened up my own daycare centers. I had 5 of them, servicing over 300 children. So just to say that...
Per year?
Per year, yes. Servicing 300 children per year.
For 15 years?
For 15 years, yes.
I want to give you a dap.
That's right. And again, one of the main things I think that keeps children safe is the vaccines.
Yeah.
That are given.
Absolutely.
And not only just children, us adults too.
Right.
Yes, we become adults.
And so let's move right into this conversation then, because it's an exciting one. We have a very prestigious doctor that we're going to be speaking with today. She told me, I said, you're one of the very few people who are knowledgeable. And then she said, I am one of the many people. She didn't want to take a lot of credit, but, I'll give a topic intro just so the viewers can know exactly what's going on and what we'll be speaking about. And I'll start with there. There's growing backlash to the federal vaccine shakeup. HHS Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has dismantled the CDC's vaccine advisory panel, fired top officials, and pulled recommendations for COVID shots in healthy kids and pregnant women, sparking outrage and resignations. Florida is moving to end all school vaccine mandates, while California, Oregon, Washington, and Hawaii have formed a West Coast Health Alliance to keep strict vaccine standards in place. And today, we have a doctor with us to break it all down, what these challenges really mean, and how we should handle it all as a community. And, let me introduce her right now. Joining us today is Dr. Mary Elizabeth Gaffney, immediate past president and current chairman of the North Carolina Association of Osteopathic Family Physicians and chief physician of Gaffney Health Services in Charlotte. She's a board-certified family medicine physician with more than 25 years of experience, a leader in clinical research with major companies, and a professor at universities across the country. She is also a governor appointee in North Carolina's Cancer Task Force and Advisory Committee, making her one of the trusted voices in both science and community health. I had one of the most trusted voices, and she said, take that out. I don't like to gloat over myself, but I will say that, and we are so happy to have you here.
We are indeed. We're proud of you and all the things you've achieved. We need representatives. We need representation in the medical field on behalf of our community at the highest level. And we thank you for taking time out to come and join us. And so,
Thank you.
Amir,
It's my pleasure.
Yeah, absolutely. And so yeah, do you want to? Who wants to start with questions right away? And let's jump into it.
Yeah, let me ask, Doc, what vaccines do you recommend that children have and at what ages?
So we have a whole list of advisory of the vaccine from the DPT, from the hepatitis B, and it's administered at which ages, 2, 4, 6 months. And I recommend all of the vaccines to be administered. As Mrs. Mathis acknowledged, it is crucial for our children to be vaccinated. Not only does it help with the herd immunity, but healthy children grow up to be healthy adults.
I do agree with that. You know, when children aren't vaccinated, they grow up to be adults and then they're exposed to
That's
diseases that
correct.
we haven't seen in 50 years.
Oh, as adults,
Correct.
if you don't get the shot as a child, you're still vulnerable
Most definitely.
as an adult. It's not like and you don't have to keep getting it over and over. So that one time lasts you throughout your life.
Yeah,
Doc?
there's some that come in series. Some of the vaccinations, as Dr. Gaffney will tell you, come in a series of shots. You know, you might
Correct.
get anywhere from
Come
two
in
to
a series
four.
of 3.
Okay.
Yes. And we have a whole agenda as to which shots are to be administered at what age and at what
So
time.
Correct.
so if a child gets a measles shot one time, do they ever have to get another one?
Yeah.
They do. They do.
How
There
later?
is a one other time.
Okay.
And it's on a schedule. It's on a schedule. So here in North Carolina, we have the North Carolina Immunization Registry that actually helps physicians to understand when that shot is to be given, which is the most optimal for that child, and when it is to be repeated, and how to check to make sure that that vaccination level is stable or has completed the process of gaining immunity.
That's the same
So
with
for some,
polio, perhaps, which is another
that's
one.
correct. That's correct. For diphtheria, pertussis, yes, measles, mumps, and rubella, Haemophilus influenza B, yes, all of
I
them.
heard something about
Um,
lockjaw. You can even get lockjaw or something. I heard something like that. Isn't that
I think
afraid? Isn't that
lockjaw,
a?
It's a, yes.
lockjaw is a
It's real.
colloquialism
Oh,
for tetanus exposure. I
oh,
think
okay.
it's
Well,
not treated.
some people tell me I need to get lockjaw. So maybe,
Am I one of those people to tell you
yeah,
that?
she the number one person to tell me I talk too much. Get him some lockjaw. Yeah. One of the things I think we also want to tell our viewers and listeners is what they should do if they don't want their child to have the shots, perhaps vaccines. Perhaps they should educate them at home. Give us some alternatives, because there are some viewers and listeners who are a little nervous and just don't want flat out to give their children the vaccines, as they didn't want to give themselves the vaccines when COVID came about. So what are the alternatives?
I think that the first alternative is education. I see patients in my office all the time that may not want their children to receive vaccinations,
Mm-hmm.
or they themselves have shied away from vaccinations. And a lot of it is because they haven't been educated. And so if we slow down everything and really give them an opportunity to learn the education of how the benefit, what's the side effects, they'll understand that the benefits far outweigh the risks. And I think that a lot of people that I come in contact with in my practice, they appreciate the education and they say, okay, no one has ever broken it down to me that way. And I think that's a critical piece.
Got it. That's excellent. Good to hear that. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
I've had the pleasure of treating patients that did not receive vaccinations. Say, for example, polio. With the aftermath of Hurricane Katrina, a lot of people from Louisiana relocated to North Carolina. And it was at that time that I was able to see and understand the repercussions of untreated vaccinated adults. So I think if someone's able to see the repercussions of not getting immunizations, I think that would force the hand of the importance of vaccinations.
Please tell me you're not saying that they came, they had polio, that it came during that time?
They had polio as children, and then unvaccinated children, because we didn't always have vaccinations. I grew up in New York with my mother, a registered nurse, a public health nurse, that we were losing quite a few babies to childhood illnesses. So when vaccinations came about, it was really a blessing to the community, because you have to remember, I think the last statistics of CDC quoted, we have 4 million prevented deaths by administering vaccination. 4 million worldwide per year.
Otherwise, you'd have 4 million children dead.
That's correct. That is correct. Yes. So it's very important and imperative. And it not only affects that child, but it affects the child that they're in nursery school with, as Ms. Mathis has said, and in middle school and high school, and even into college, because we even give vaccinations as you go into college, because college is a confined area, that meningococcal meningitis has the opportunity to live and to grow and to thrive.
And that kills meningitis, right? In many instances.
Absolutely. Meningococcal meningitis does kill. And I had the pleasure of treating college patients that actually were diagnosed with meningococcal
Hold on, Doc.
meningitis.
Ain't no pleasure doing that. Hold on, Doc. Ain't no pleasure doing that.
It's no pleasure. It's
You
no
said
pleasure,
it's
but
a
it can
pleasure
easily
doing
happen. That's right. That's right.
Linda, what's your thoughts?
My thoughts are, I'm a mother. I'm a teacher, as I mentioned before, an educator by profession. I'm 100% for vaccinations.
So what do you say to parents that don't want to do it?
As Dr. Gaffney mentioned, we need to educate people. And education means to let people know the consequences, that if you are not going to vaccinate your child.
What if they can't read or write and they're hard of hearing?
Then we have to pray for them. That's all. We have to pray for them, and that's what we can do.
We see that all the time in the practice. We have ways of coping with those deficits as well. Everybody in America is not literate.
Exactly.
So we have ways of communicating. It all is about passion, slowing, and allowing someone to hit their own learning curve and bringing them along.
Got it.
Amir, what's your thoughts?
Doc, I do have a question. You've run some big clinical trials with some of the biggest pharmaceutical companies out there. And I guess a lot of people, they are nervous because they say that they don't trust the science behind it. They don't trust that it's safe. And I guess, can you explain how strict the trial process is for getting a vaccine to approval, and how, that trust needs to be rebuilt within, especially our community, because of the past Tuskegee test that came out back in the day and things like that. Can you explain to us how safe that process is and how we can get people to trust that process again?
Good point.
I must tell you that so many things have been put in place now that opens the door for clinical trial research that has been put in place by the FDA to protect everyone. I can't tell you how many times a person of any background has approached me and said, I have no trust because of the Tuskegee trial. And I spend my time telling them those days are long gone. That will never, ever happen again because of the responsibilities that the physician is held to by the government, as well as the responsibilities of that patient, the tracking mechanisms, the timing in which data is to be delivered. It's no happenstance. It is a timed process that is regulated by auditors.
And secondly, what I've said, because that was a big barrier during COVID, particularly for my audience, quite frankly, and the Tuskegee Airmen. Well, my response? A black woman developed it, and a COVID vaccine, and
That's
tens
correct.
of thousands of black, or at least thousands of black doctors would not engage in any practice that would be part of some conspiracy to hurt black people. I think we're right about we know we're right about what happened in days gone by in that Tuskegee experiment. But I'm with you, Doc. I don't believe that the head of the COVID vaccine development, a sister, I can't remember her name, and the other thousands of black physicians. Back there, we probably didn't even have 5 or 10. We could probably count them on our hand, the black physicians that were alive that we had during the Tuskegee experiment. That was
correct.
before the
So
1950s.
Right.
So that scientist is born and birthed in North Carolina,
Oh, okay.
and we're proud to say so.
That's right.
And yes, the trustworthy and the integrity of that physician was phenomenal.
What's
and
the
she
sister's
led
name
us through the
again? Let's
most
give her her
challenging
dap.
times.
What's her name again? Let's give her
Give her
props.
Jay,
See,
We didn't.
we'll back to it in 1 minute. I'm totally blanking on it.
Yeah.
but yeah, thank you for that insight. Amir,
Yeah.
you want to give us another question for the brilliant Dr. Gaffney?
Let me just interject. For the processing of participation in clinical trials, it is a documented, regimented process from the consent to the approval to the processing through the data, through the blood supplies, everything. And so there is no room for error and no tolerance by the FDA for error whatsoever. The physician that developed the COVID vaccine is Dr. Kisimikia S. Corbett. She is a
Okay.
physician and a PhD.
I knew it was a little difficult, her name, but thank God we are able to give her acknowledgement because that was historic and that gave our community a lot of pride.
Right.
And so,
It saved a lot of lives.
yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
And one thing we also need to note that these vaccines are constantly looked at and they're constantly scrutinized. They're just not made and then you forget about them, but they're also always, just constantly perfected.
Now,
That's
the people
correct.
talk about and they're paranoid about, and sometimes rightfully so, pharmaceutical companies. And they act as if doctors somehow walk lock and step with them. The population we're hearing and all this stuff we're hearing is that, that's because pharmaceuticals are in bed with the doctors. What relationship is there?
I think that each physician stands on their own level of integrity at all times. It is very rare to find physicians invested in pharmaceutical corporations. And before we speak, we're obligated to give disclosure if there is any relationship to the pharma companies. So that eliminates a lot of the potential infringement for the betterment of the patient. Pharma companies, we need them. Definitely, we need them. We can't live without them. We need them for the research aspect. But it is up to that individual physician to decide the best thing that is for the patient care at all times.
But they ain't
Patient
taking
care first.
they ain't taking no samples. They ain't gonna lie just to take samples. You know how you have some of the pharmaceutical marketers, they come there and say, "Can I give you some samples?" That don't influence them, does it? Getting the samples.
No, it does not.
know
It does
that.
not.
I know
Matter
it
of
would.
fact, there is such strong legislation now with Stark Law to make sure that there is no infringement on the practice of medicine by being given complimentary things that could compromise the patient care or
How about the
outcome.
FDA? They also
That's
point the
correct.
finger at the FDA, Federal Drug Administration, suggesting that they're in bed with the pharmaceuticals because they have to approve it. Am I not? Am I not
That's
correct?
correct. That's correct. The FDA is the god of the industry. That's correct.
And are they paid? Give us some trust in them. Why should we trust them?
The FDA,
We know
the
you know.
the FDA is supposed to represent the betterment of the community at all times, the betterment of the patient. So they hold the pharmaceutical companies very much at task to make sure that outcome studies and outcome results of the drugs that they allow to be given to our patient population are safe. Safety first.
Dr. Gaffney, you said
Yes,
that
ma'am.
your first defense is to educate parents. What else do you
Yes.
suggest besides education of parents?
Like, how do you talk to parents who are still hesitant about getting vaccines? Like, what's that?
Life or death? You
And
talk to them about life or death?
And you probably have parents who talk about the fact that vaccines cause
Autism.
There's a
autism.
very controversial. A judge, the jury's not back yet,
Okay.
but it strongly weighs in favor that vaccinations are not correlated with autism. But there are the New England Journal of Medicine has made an article stating and lending to support that vaccinations are not related to autism. However, ongoing studies are going on in Great Britain, in Canada, and in other countries to bring this whole conversation to a closure. And that all started from a political signing of a bill. So we're going to trust science and medicine
That's
at the end
right.
of the day and their opinion.
And you should tell Robert F. Kennedy Jr. that he need to go up to the corner store or wherever and get that New England Journal because he's in Boston. So it's right up the street. He can get that study.
I'm not quite sure if it works quite that way, but yes, he does have accessibility to the study. Yes.
CDC,
Yes.
tell us about the CDC. What's your opinion on them and the firings? And do you think they do a good job?
The CDC has always guarded the public from infectious disease. They always have. For vaccinations to be authorized in this country, it is the American Academy of Pediatrics and the Center for Disease Control that have to be in agreement prior to a vaccination being looked at as being legal. So the CDC has always focused on the protection of the greater population.
Good, thank you. And so overall, as we can wrap this up, the last question I have for you is, what's the overall take-home message that you can give us, regarding health, wealth, prosperity, and all those things?
Yeah, that's my motto and my mantra for my
I read that.
practice. Health, wealth, and prosperity, not one without the other.
All right.
I think that this is a lot of information that is coming at us. It's kind of like a fire hydrant, and you're trying to get a drop of water for a fire hydrant. It's a lot. I think that while public policy is being made on the Hill between bipartisanship, we in the community need to focus on what our county health departments are doing. At the end of the day, it is the county health department that regulates and commands our public health safety.
Okay.
And since we're giving shout outs, I live in Mecklenburg County. Dr. Renard Washington is our Mecklenburg County chief, and he is phenomenal. So if people ever get confused as to all of the rhetoric, always lend to your health department, your county health department. Those are the ones that will execute the vaccinations, the educations, get the public health nurses will give extra information as to what your alternatives are, because it depends upon the state that you're in whether those students can attend school or not. And if they are given a waiver, it is those public health nurses and the director of the public health county that makes those decisions.
Good to know. Thank you. Good to know.
Thank you. It's up, and I appreciate you, and thank you for calling in and speaking with us. I hope to have you back, to be honest, because you're very informative, and your resume speaks for itself, and we love having knowledge on this show. I'll tell you that.
Thank you.
It's
Dr.
my
Gaffney.
pleasure. Anything I can do to serve, I'm willing to do.
Next time, bring Dr. George Murphy on. He thinks he's a doctor because his wife, Dr. Cedar Robinson, is, and he runs a healthcare company. So he thinks he's a doctor. I swear, I think he tell people he's a doctor.
Okay, all right. I'll convey that message.
All right.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep.
A lot of people that we can share that information with. Next up, we have a familiar face that we all know. Your daughter, my sister, Jade Mathis. Right now we're going to be talking about the Lil Nas X crisis which happened. Did you all see the video of Lil Nas X?
Over and over.
Yeah.
I watched it a couple of times. Yes.
Yeah, no, it's very unfortunate. You know, it's close by Ventura Boulevard, and he was without his pants on.
But at first he was butt naked. Wasn't he? Oh yeah, I've heard that he was butt naked at first.
I'm not sure.
I didn't see video.
Well,
of
I
that.
heard that.
But we know, butt naked, underwear, cowboy boots, cowboy hat, that's still naked.
That's funny to me. It's
Ventura Boulevard, one of our main boulevards in LA here.
That was funny. I know it's unfortunate that he's been arrested and that he even did that. There's something going on there for him to have.
Let me give some background. Lil Nas X is in hot water right now. The Grammy Award winner was arrested in LA after police found him nearly naked on Ventura Boulevard. Cowboy boots, underwear, and chaos. Now he's facing 4 felony charges, including battery on officers. He's pleaded not guilty. He's out on bail, and his next court date is set for September 15th. If things go south, he could be looking at years behind bars, but his camp says that it was just an isolated meltdown. And right now we have Jade Mathis, and I gave the doctor a great introduction, so I wrote one up for you too. Joining us today is Jade Mathis. She's an attorney, public speaker, and mental health advocate based in Detroit, Michigan. Jade is a former prosecutor who created diversion programs to keep people out of jail, and she's become known now as the expungement guru for her work in criminal justice reform. She's also open about her journey with mental health, using her story to change the way we see resilience, recovery, and rehabilitation. Jade, welcome back to the show.
Thank you, Amir. Thank y'all for having me.
Yeah, and so, you heard about this case, and have you seen the video yourself?
I have.
Yeah, and
Yes.
Whether it's drugs, mental health, or anything, what I say is sometimes those things all combine with each other. Sometimes drug use leads to mental health challenges, or mental health challenges leads to drug use. And so I thought it would be great to have you on here, and we all could speak about this and get your opinion. And
We support the young brother and hope that he's healthy.
Well, I support him most definitely to get some type of health evaluation, mental health evaluation, most definitely.
Yeah.
So I guess, my question is, in the court of law at this point, as a former prosecutor, how do you see the balance of, holding someone accountable for their criminal charges and then recognizing when it could be a mental health issue and that playing a role in it?
That's a really good question. I think the first one is, how can you tell how to differentiate, right? And like you said earlier, if he's using drugs and it's giving him psychosis, or if he already has a mental health issue and then he's using the drugs to suppress that, right? Or to cope with that. And I think, number one, that's why it's important to have prosecutors in the courtroom who a lot of times, quite frankly, look like us, because, we have a little bit more empathy and we understand a little bit more, and we may take a little more time to try to figure out what the actual issue is and not just throw him away in jail and say, oh, he'll be fine, right? Mm-hmm. Because what people don't understand is 60% of the people incarcerated have a mental health diagnosis. I think trying to figure out, taking more time to figure out from his team, his background history. When I have people in my when I did have people in the courtroom that I was supposed to prosecute, and they did something that sounded very off wall like that, I would try to see if we can get them an evaluation, and I would try to hear their history to see if there's some paper documentation that they have some type of mental issues before. But I think that takes a prosecutor going the extra mile.
We have a prosecutor and a judge right here, and typically, I know they don't work together, but in this case, would it be a prosecutor knowing that there's a mental health?
Now, y'all talk about me calling people crackheads, but there's a such thing as get naked crack. Swear to God, you've been in the hood, Jay. Get naked crack.
PCP, that PCP. That's exactly what it make you do, is get naked.
That's right.
Oh, you just find another type of drug, not just crack.
Crack is PCP.
Oh
wow.
Those are get naked drugs.
And the more you take, the more naked you get. So yes, that's very true.
Let me ask you this, Jade, because there are drug courts. There are gun courts that are separate. Yep. We had a gun court at 36th District where you had to go to gun training as a condition of your bond. And in drug courts, you have to go to drug rehab or you're sentenced to drug rehab, but the hearing is in the context of your drug addiction, which led you to the criminal behavior. You ever heard of a mental health court? Maybe that's something you and I need to. They do have those.
Yeah, they do have those. Some jurisdictions do. When I was in Prince George's County, they had a mental health
Oh,
court as well.
good.
Yep, so they do have those, and you're right. You're absolutely right, Dad. I think diversion courts for particular situations like this, if they pinpoint that that is an issue, even if it's the drug use, he could be in a program for drug use, right? In drug court, and what happens generally at the end of those programs, or even at mental health court, they'll when you complete the program, they'll expunge the charges, and the case will essentially
Correct.
go away. So I think if that's what I think his team should look into having him evaluated to see if it's a substance abuse, a mental disorder, both or none. And he was just having a good night. Well, maybe not. It probably started off good and it didn't end good.
Listen
But,
to
you
her.
know,
We so proud of you,
She's so
Jade.
smart. That's smart.
Yes,
baby.
and that second chance you just mentioned, that's something that changed your dad's life. It was precisely that type of sentence that if I, after leaving, being there for being on without bail for months, I was released on condition that I get a GED.
yeah.
And at the end of getting that, in I think 2 years, it was automatically expunged. I didn't have to go back to court. I didn't have to get a lawyer, as it is with many cases. That's how they did in Prince George County, where you served as a lawyer there in the second chance court, right? They
Yep,
got
you
it
have to come to court
automatically
weekly.
expunged, though.
Yep, automatically. But you had to come to court weekly. You have a caseworker. You have a substance abuse. They have a whole litany of things set up and requirements, so they don't just push you to the wolves. But I think one thing we have to remember too when we talk about these courts, specifically in Lil Nas case, is that there were people that were assaulted here, right? There were
Battery on the
victims, and
officers,
that's going to be
right.
the
The
law
officer,
enforcement
right.
That's the
officers.
key right
So you
there.
can't. I understand if something's wrong, but you can't just walk around assaulting people when you're high or you're in psychosis or you're both.
But is there leniency typically with someone going through the court system? Is there leniency when you are found to be in a psychosis state when you're doing that?
I don't think there's enough. I do not think there's enough. And then particularly when the victims involved are like law enforcement, I can see sometimes that they are trying to get more justice or retribution for the officers than actually help the person. So I think there should be a lot more. And I think there should be a lot more evaluations when you see stuff like this. And not for his defense attorney to have to ask, but for the court to actually say there may be something wrong. And Lil Nas, I think over the last couple months or since last year, he's been doing some pretty bizarre stuff. So I think it's pretty safe to say he's probably going through some stuff or some erratic stuff or drug use. But I think that taking a deeper dive.
What type of stuff you been doing? Do you recall any of the other stuff?
I mean, I think when he doing some stuff like the devil and stuff and dancing.
Yeah,
in
but
video with
that could be
Satan.
said as creative
Yeah, that was
artistry.
Yeah,
Artistry.
I guess.
Performance.
That was
I don't
performance,
like
though.
that type
How
of
about-
artistry, but I guess.
How about not guilty by reason of insanity? I've always wanted to have one of those cases. I've never had a case come before me where they pled not guilty because of insanity. Is that something?
No, because he probably became sane really quickly afterwards. And he just was high. That's what I think he was. I think
You say he became real sane real quick when he got in that cell.
So in a situation
Yes,
like that,
yes.
Jade, and you probably know also, if you get arrested in a situation like that, do they take your blood sample and they take your, they do
Yes.
drug tests with you, an alcohol test?
So they can. The EMS probably did take him, and when they took him to the hospital, he can
Okay.
sign off voluntarily, or they can involuntarily take it. To be honest with you, they probably could tell that he was on something pretty severe, and they probably did not need to take it.
But isn't
determine
that?
he
But
was on
isn't it
something.
better for court if you can have those things?
It is, but if you have, it is better, yes, in certain instances. But if you have the video with Lil Nas walking down there talking to people doing what he was doing,
Right.
you could guess that he was.
And I would
probably
say
on
that it would
something.
probably work. It could work better in the defense if they said that this wasn't drugs. If they did have the drug test, and they say, "Look, at the drug test, there is no, anything in his system. It was a mental health issue." Would that work better for him? In the long?
That
Okay.
absolutely would
Okay.
would work better for him because he could argue probably like a psychosis.
Got it.
Ooh, I
it
would
would-
love
yeah, it
to
would
have.
feel like.
I would love to have him come in my courtroom. The way I mess with people, I have a ball with him. Of course, I got to apologize every 2 minutes, but I would have a ball with Lil Nas X. You naked? You got on clothes today, don't you? All right, don't you pull your clothes out in here. I don't know what you've been getting hired, but you better not move a lapel. And then I have Amir over there to the side. Amir, if he try to take his clothes off, grab him and throw him down. And matter of fact, I'll take my robe off and give it to him. But that's what I'm amused. I ain't gonna lie, y'all. I'm amused. However,
Yeah, I think the video
the consequences bother me.
The video
with it.
was, when you see it, you can laugh at it, but it's kind of sad, I mean, you can just see a person there who's obviously struggling, whether it's fame, whether it's the mental health issue or the enrichments. You see it all the time, Hollywood people.
Yep.
Struggle.
He's young.
In this
He may need
industry.
to take a break.
And he's young.
Maybe that should
so,
be part of. He may need to step back and take a break.
Yeah, like
Not
Justin
treatment or
Bieber.
just take a break.
He had issues with
Yep.
it and things like that, and a lot of stories that we don't even know that happen behind closed doors. And so just to see that, my first reaction was, wow. I hope this guy can get some help. And so
Yeah, it was sad. It was more sad than anything.
yeah.
Well, I'll do the same thing, but I laugh first, and then I get you some help. Anybody watch Judge Mathis, they know I'm going to mess with you. I might ridicule you, and then I'll get you some help. I might call you a dope fiend, crackhead, everything under the book, and say, sir, I'm going to sentence you to get your life together, and I hope you and your family are successful in the future. So that's why I'm laughing. I am compassionate toward the young man.
Yeah. Any questions?
Yeah, I just think we could laugh even more if it didn't involve assaulting people.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's
And
a
I
good
think,
point.
you can be evaluated.
Yeah, and there were
figure out
three,
what's
so I
going
think he
on.
assaulted 3 different officers, which was probably during the takedown. I'm gonna guess he didn't go up and hit
Yes.
anybody or swing. They probably tried to take him down, and that PCP or that good stuff or strong stuff and have you fighting back or attempt to fight back.
Yep. Well, this is great to be able to analyze that. Now he's charged with 4 counts. And what are the other 2? I know assaulting police officers. Is it indecent exposure or something? Because they say it's 4 felony charges, including battery on officers. How many officers were there? 3?
I think it was 3 battering officers. The other one I haven't seen. I know. I think
Okay,
there was 3
I would
indecent
assume.
exposure.
Yeah, I would assume it's indecent exposure.
Yeah, probably so. Or public
so-
intoxication, probably something like that, but probably indecent exposure or public intoxication. I feel like everybody's indecently exposed in LA a lot. So it's probably
Yeah, they might have just
You're on to
they might have just
something.
got him for jaywalking.
right. It might be something real simple.
Yeah.
But this was good to analyze and give the viewers and listeners some insight, particularly on the mental health issues, because you said it, in the county jail, the majority suffer from a mental health illness of some sort. Prison is a little different. I think the numbers are about 20 or so in prison, in federal prison, put it that way. However, in state prisons it's higher, and in the county it's the majority.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And major city
And I think as a
counties.
black male, that's hard for him, a young black male, and it's hard for him to talk about that if he does have issues. It's probably hard, and that's unfortunate, because of the stigmatization, and then in the industry. But I'm sure it's probably difficult for him to talk about it if he does have a diagnosis of some sort.
Good point. Because everybody going to look at him through those lens when he's performing. Let's see if he going to do something crazy while he's performing. Good
Yeah, like
point.
they do Justin Bieber or something like that. It's just all word. Yeah, he won't be able to have normalcy after that, or probably feel like he can have normalcy. He's going to be a butt of a joke. Anywhere it goes, he's going to be the butt of a joke. But no one wants to be a butt of a mental health joke,
Yep. Absolutely. Well, all right. Thank you for joining us, Jade, again. And I appreciate it.
No, you're gonna become a recurring guest on a regular basis. I mean,
As long as I get a
you are
recurring check on a regular basis. No, I'm playing.
That's right. All right, sweetie.
I'll see y'all next time.
All right,
thank you.
All
bye-bye.
right, love y'all.
See ya.
All right,
Yeah,
bye.
yeah, she is so good.
Absolutely.
She's really good. She knows how to
Thank
talk
you.
like her daddy.
I know. Listen,
Right,
she
she
can
knows
run
Knows
this
how to
up like
run
my
it down
daddy.
just like him.
And that's our episode. And thank you for joining us, Miss Mathis.
welcome.
Mama.
Yes, welcome. Enjoyed being here. I kept somebody under control.
Yeah.
He didn't talk too much. Just the right amount.
Exactly.
Yeah, well, I was under control because I was looking at that pretty face. That's what I was
how
looking
sweet.
at. I wasn't thinking about no show. Don't you? If you bring her on here, it's going to be a distraction every time. So that might be a good way to shut me up from time to time. So he's going to talk less because he's going to be looking at Mama's pretty face.
I love it. Yep, and we'll close out with the Mathis verdict with Judge Mathis, Amir Mathis, and
Linda Mathis.
all right.